after the initial hiccups of Mercury retrograde. Now we are back. Today is the last day of Mercury retrograde. Yes. So, guys, please welcome Manley from Light on Vedic Astrology. And today he is going to enlighten us on birth time rectification and why this is important, and all that stuff. We have a lot of questions. Once we are going to cover as many questions as possible in the later section of this video. And if you're getting value from this video, please hit the like button. Okay, so before that, I want to tell you about my story about the birth time rectification. I had one of my friend, Veronica. She said she was expecting a reading, and she said, I don't know the birth timing. And I said, I won't be able to help you because Varga charts will change at few moments, I told her. And she was, she said, then astrology is not for me. Like, she has been deprived of astrological secrets. And then after few days, I just realized that you are also working on that. So just a shout out to Veronica, and welcome to Manley ji on Pramanik Astrology. So just tell me, what is birth time rectification? Why this is important to, why this is necessary, birth time rectification? And what is your thoughts on this? Please enlighten us.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Prasad, for having me here. And sorry for the hiccups. Looks like Mercury retrograde just kind of getting its last licks in. It's supposed to be over pretty soon, right?
Yes.
Any day, any moment. So, yeah. Well, I think it's quite an ironic situation. First of all, my dog's barking.
Yeah, that's fine.
Come, lie down. Okay, so it's quite an ironic situation, really, because people want precision from Vedic astrology. They expect that, right?
Yes.
I mean, they hear stories about how Vedic astrology can be used for getting an event time to the exact day, right? So this is very possible. It's a predictive system.
Right.
At the same time, people can often think, like, what's all this fuss about the birth time? Like, can't we just call it good? Can we just dive in, get to the good stuff and not have to fiddle with this birth time?
Right.
Just call it close enough. It's kind of like, it's like kind of like folk musicians, right? They'll just they're tuning their instruments and they just say, it's good enough. It's close enough for folk music, right? It's not classical music, right? So, but in Jyotish, this is a classical system. This necessitates an accurate birth time. I mean, no one is going to pay for a reading and ask and expect a kind of sort of accurate reading. I mean, they want precision, right?
Yes.
But they bring a kind of sort of accurate birth time. So that's, I mean, from a client's perspective, I mean, how do they know? I mean, the birth time, who cares? And for all purposes, I mean, you can bat the birth time around like a ping pong ball. Who cares? In astrology, though, it does matter.
Yes.
It changes.
That is the base. That is the base.
Right. So, I mean, it changes the dashas, the timing of events. So timing of the dashas, which will be tied to the prediction for an event. So, and then it will most likely also, especially if we're talking about a big change of a variance in the birth time, then it will certainly change different Varga charts, the divisional charts. And that's also a predictive tool. So we can't just we can't just kind of do this in a general way. It's especially people are expecting precision. So,
Yes.
but the client doesn't know. I mean,
Hmm.
I had a case earlier this year in February. A man was told by his wife, "You really should talk to this guy and get a reading." She just had a reading with me, and she was, happy with it. And her husband's going through a big career change, and so he so he relented. He didn't really want to do it. Didn't really believe in astrology, not like her. And but he admitted, he's got to make some big decisions coming up. So we're chatting back and forth an email about his birth time. He says, "Yeah, well, it's about 10 o'clock."
Mm.
And my mom says it's accurate within an hour. And I'm
An
looking.
hour.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like, yeah. And for, again, most purposes, who cares?
Right.
Rounded birth time's great, but but he's wanting to make big decisions. So
Mm.
for me as an astrologer, it's like I've gotta feel good about what I say.
Yes.
I've gotta be able to feel certain that I'm giving the best quality that I can.
Yes.
And so I'm asking him, would you like to have birth time rectification done? Do you want to find out when you're actually born?
Mm.
And he goes, no.
Okay.
I'll do this. He said, I'll do
Yes.
this. I'll find out. I'll get my birth certificate. I'll see what my birth certificate
Right.
says. Okay.
Right.
So then he comes back and the birth certificate again confirms 10 o'clock, 10
Right.
a.m.
Right.
But this is right on the cusp between two signs.
Oh.
And so then I'm left with, he doesn't want to pay for birth time rectification. I'm going,
Yes.
so I'm asking him, how about half price? I'll give you, I'll do it for a half price. And that was, and then he says, no, the birth certificate says 10 o'clock. And he goes, let's do it with 10 o'clock. And he's going,
no, I have one question. What is the exact timing of birth? Like hospital timing, we can't really trust. As you said, it is deviating by an hour. Or we, when the baby first cried, when the baby took the first breath, what is the exact timing of the person? What is the base of it, like which we consider as
first
the
breath.
first breath? Yeah, first breath is
Yes.
considered as the birth time. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, please go ahead with that.
And so,
yeah.
So basically, with this person, I just said, look, I'll do it for free. I just, for my
you
own
want to
peace of
experiment,
mind.
and yes, I know.
I mean, and I'm kind of crazy with birth time rectification. This is like a pet hobby. I mean, it's something I love to do. It's like people like word puzzles or math puzzles. This is my puzzle. This is what I enjoy doing. People ask me, you want to go out to the movies? No, I'm deep into this puzzle. I got to find this birth time.
Right.
And I enjoy it. I mean, I have learned so much from birth time, from doing the process,
right.
Because I'm honing the divisional charts. And to be able to see events in divisional charts is just is profound. And later we'll look at an example of
great.
Everything lines up when the birth time is correct. You can explain events in the divisional charts as well as in the natal chart, and everything's smooth.
Right.
So eventually I did his birth time. It was 8 minutes earlier than what he said. Fortunately, it wasn't later because that was going to be the problem. Right. But in any case, so from a client's perspective, they just want the reading. They just want the information.
Right.
From the astrologer's perspective, it's a hassle.
Yes.
If they get a rounded birth time, I mean, some astrologers take the viewpoint, look at, you need to take responsibility for your own birth time. I will do a reading on your birth time. Like how is a client going to know what to do with that? How are they going to verify it? Even students in astrology also don't know how to verify whether a birth time is correct. The methodologies aren't out there. I mean, there's some, you can find information, but my purpose is to help people be successful at this, so that there's easy, accessible, step-by-step method, so it doesn't take the astrologer a huge amount of time. I mean, I've spent so many hours, I mean, so many birth time rectifications have been 3 to 5 hours. I mean, sometimes I'm just like, don't ask me how long that was. It was crazy long. But
because
now,
sometimes
but after
it will
over
be
years,
on that cusp. It will be on that cusp whether this the lagna is ascendant, this sign or this sign, and you might have to work a lot on this, right?
yes, but there are shortcut methods, and that's also been my, so it's really a problem of time, not only from the client's perspective, I want to find my birth time, but from the astrologer's perspective, it's a matter of taking too much time.
Because
and
because when I don't know my birth time, I cannot imagine that I don't know my birth time. You know, I feel so helpless because you know I won't be able to use Jyotish in my life, right? So yes, this this is going to help us a lot. So
well, and even with a gold standard in a birth time, which is from a hospital record, you know, birth certificate.
Yes.
Even that can be you know, that's the best we have to go from, right? A written document, but even that can be off. And my own son, when he was born, I made sure I knew exactly. I was in the living room. I had my watch synchronized to the Naval Observatory master clock, just like our cell phones now are. But 12 years ago, when he was born, we had to synchronize our watches. So it was 2 hours off. 2 hours off is what they recorded it as. It was 8:46 p.m. and the hospital, you know, just in a clerical error, made it 10:46 p.m. So can't even trust a birth certificate.
Right.
But so it's, and in this tradition, it's about in Jataka, natal horoscopy, we need to have this system of natal chart. I mean, it's the birth chart. So we need the correct birth time to really do birth time, to do a natal chart reading effectively. So oftentimes that leaves us with the need to correct the birth time, or at least be able to verify it. So there are methods, and you know, my Jyotish guru says the divisional charts, Jyotish is a blunt tool without the use of the divisional charts. So once I started studying with K.N. Rao and learning his methods, which are really comprehensive, not only does he use more than one dasha system, he uses all the divisional charts, he uses many conditional dashas. And in any case, these are all important for becoming more precise. And so to be able to use the divisional charts is, these are integrated with the natal chart. If you want to be able to look into an area with more precision, then we need to look at the microscopic chart of that area. So everybody, I mean, at least we need to have the D9, the Navamsha chart, which is the most important divisional chart. And then everybody has questions about career. So the Dashamsha, the D10 chart also becomes very important. So the D9, D10, at least those two need to be correct. Because people are asking usually questions about relationship and about career. Or their money or their honey. You know? So at least these two, but in order to get these two divisional charts correct, we really need to be able to cross-check against many divisional charts, and that's what the method that I've evolved is about. Is being able to verify the accuracy of the birth time from at least 5 divisional charts.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The D4, which, I mean, everybody's moved, right? So the D4, the D7, the Septemsa, because many people have had children. The D9, because most people have had a relationship or been married. The D10, because most people have work, you know?
Right.
And they have questions around career. And then most people also have been to college.
Right.
And so the D24 chart is golden. It's golden. The D24 chart is golden for birth time rectification. Why? Because it's a fine division. The window of the ascendant is very small. So the lower the divisional chart, like the D4, is very low. The wider the boundary of the ascendant. So it could be like 40 minutes. So you have a 40-minute range. Are you still there?
Yes,
okay.
you're freezing. You're
screen.
freezing. Yes, freezing screen.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So the lower the divisional chart, the wider the boundary. The higher the divisional chart, the smaller the boundary.
Yes.
So we start getting in the ballpark area of the birth time through the lower divisional charts, and then we refine it, and in the end, with the higher divisional charts. So in that way, we can narrow it down, narrow it down, narrow it down. It's kind of like once you have a 40-minute range, then you break it down into a 30-minute range, and then a 20-minute range, and then a 10-minute range, then a 5-minute range. And then not only are you getting more precise with the birth time, you are helping you as an astrologer become more certain that this is correct. And really, astrology is the game of certainty. The more certain we are, the more we can be helpful, the more accurate we're going to be, the more confidence we'll have about a prediction. If you can see an event in the natal chart, that's great. You should be able to see it in at least the natal chart. But if you see that same event, let's say a promotion at work, if you see that corroborated in the D10 chart, then you have something to really bank on. Now you have two things confirming,
right?
And hopefully you have more than two, but at least you have two then, and then you can speak with confidence, and because your predictions will be accurate, more precise. So really, it's a game of becoming more precise and therefore more certain, and that's very helpful for this from the astrologer's perspective. Of course, it's going to be helpful for the client because they're going to be happier. And really, when everything is working precisely, then the sheen of astrology stays bright.
Right.
When astrology is practiced in a sloppy way, it's good enough, close enough. Who cares really? We can see it in the natal chart. Okay, but it's generally seen in the natal chart. To really see an event with more detail, with more precision, then we look to the divisional charts for additional clues.
Right. Okay. So do you have any framework which do you have any framework? I see a book on your page. What was it?
Yes.
Because
I'm writing a book on this topic because it needs to be out there. People need to have a methodology, and that's been really the problem. Not only do our clients face with not knowing their birth time, astrologers are faced with not really knowing how to correct the birth time or verify that the birth time is accurate. And then therefore, it's a topic that's not discussed. It's a problem for the astrologer because if they say your birth time needs to be corrected, then the client can think, oh, this is just a scam. This is a way that he gets more money.
Yes, it is a classic example. Yes, classic excuse that birth time is not correct. That might have.
So it becomes something that no one's really talking about.
Yes.
And that's why the books are not written. That's why classes are not, I think, I don't actually know. I'm kind of like surprised that no one has taken this subject up in an academic way because it's so needed. It's kind
Yes.
of like it's like the elephant in the living room, the
Right.
proverbial elephant in the living room that no one's talking about. You know, it's like astrologers don't want to talk, but they don't want to admit that, oh my God, this is a big issue. And understandably, I mean, without having a concise and simplified method, then it could be hours that you're taking on. And if a
Yes.
client doesn't want to invest in that, then it's a problem for the
So,
astrologer.
so when you do a reading for the birth time rectification, you have multiple sessions with client to come up to the certain
Oh,
timings, or you just take the information through email
no,
or something, or how do you
take the
work on?
information through email. Yeah,
Okay, okay.
I get the main data points
Hmm,
that we
hmm,
need.
hmm.
We need events. So my guru, Jyotish Guru K.N. Rao says, um, we that the birth time needs to be proven in the cold light of events. So
Yes,
we collect those events. We collect
yes,
those events.
correct,
The
correct.
birth time needs to be proven. The chart needs to be proven. It needs to
Yes.
prove itself. So we collect the events
Hmm,
of known events that people are confident about the time, hopefully the day, but I say month and year at least,
hmm,
if not the day, month and year,
hmm,
much better.
hmm,
Um, so, you know, if they've had, if they started college, that's a great
hmm, hmm.
event, right?
Right,
They'll probably know the beginning date of the first day of class.
right,
Likewise, they'll know when their child is born. They'll know
right.
when they were married, down to
Yes,
the day.
right,
Probably they'll know when they got the job. Any
right.
case, so those are events that they can nail to a particular day, and that's what we want, ideally. And if it's only a month, oh, then that's okay. We take the middle of the month, and then it's not more than 2 weeks off. You know, that's what I do.
Okay.
So
And this framework you have shared in that book, is it?
yes,
Great.
yes, yeah. So you collect doesn't have to be doesn't have to be a huge number of events. They have to be good quality events.
Quality
They
events,
know
yes.
that they're not that they're certain about. So 10 to 15 would be great. Would be great.
Hmm. 15
So
events you must,
10, I
yeah.
like 10.
Hmm,
Yeah.
hmm.
But oftentimes, um, um, 7, 8 good events. Yeah.
Right.
In other words, that are accurate. That's often enough. Yeah. And then with Jyotish software, we can enter those events into our astrology program, and
Yes.
then we can go from there. Then we
Right.
can start working the system. Yeah.
Amazing. Yes. Because
So
what I've seen is you have to have the competence, and even if you have the competence, it will take time, right? You have to have command over the divisional charts. You must know the yogas. You must have command over vimshottari mahadashas, which dashas will get
yeah.
activated, to confirm that yes, this is the event. It is so interesting because we always see the other side of it. Like we will see the chart, then we'll apply the Jyotish principles, like the techniques about the
Yeah.
dashas and all
Yeah.
yogas, and then we'll come to the event. But this is super interesting to dig down and reverse engineer this. Amazing.
For sure. I mean, that's exciting. That's the thrill, really. I
Yes.
mean, to see events, to be able to see events forming in the divisional charts and the natal chart, to see how prediction really works. That's really why I've been so fascinated with
Amazing.
this
Yes.
system, and why I invest so much time into doing it. Um, it's enjoyable, but it's enjoyable because when you get to the birth time, you know, I do a little
It's a
surfing.
joy.
You know, it's like being in the tube surfing. You know,
Yes.
or getting or being in a deep meditative state. When you get to when everything starts to
High.
line
You
up,
get the high.
there is a height. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. It's like
And
okay,
the
you
and the
see the
happiness you
sacredness.
see, the happiness you see on client's face from being helpless to, have that timing. uh, and now he can use all the astrology techniques for his.
Absolutely. And that's the whole thing. I mean, we want the whole range of the Jyotish toolbox. I mean, why have to? I mean, the whole set is so comprehensive, so fantastic, that it's such an amazing tool to help people throughout their life. So to
Yeah.
have access to all of that, we
Yes,
need the correct birth time.
because I feel helpless if I don't know the birth time, as I said earlier. It would be great.
Yeah,
I will be helpless. Okay, so
yeah,
how? So now, before we moving to the examples, you are going to share the examples. How,
yeah.
if I want to learn it, if I want to, uh, have it. So, do you have anything to offer? Like, do you have any, uh,
Well, I'm doing this
framework,
webinar.
or you are doing
We're
a
doing the
webinar?
web. We're doing
Okay.
the webinar,
Okay.
July 25th and 26th,
Okay.
and people can sign up for this through a link that I think you have in the description.
Yes, yes, I'll be sharing that.
So yes, and there's a early bird special until Wednesday,
Okay.
until this Wednesday. So that's the 15th,
15th.
and
Okay.
and then also there'll be a coupon available for 5% off for people who are watching this if they haven't already signed up. So
Yes.
then, yeah.
And you will be covering all the in-depth methodology about
Yeah.
how
So
to go about it.
it's going to be 2 days, 8
Hmm.
hours.
Hmm.
So 4 hours Saturday and 4 hours Sunday, and we'll cover this methodology exactly. So we
Yes.
need to learn. We need to learn what the parameters are
Hmm.
for 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 seeing events in the divisional charts. We need to know what to look for. We need to know where to look. So
Right.
that's a big part of what we'll be learning. So we can go right into the D24 chart or
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
D10 chart, and we're looking for X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is a
I
great
bought.
tool not only for birth time rectification, but then it will also be applicable for pursuing um, the prediction regarding any question a
It
client
will
would have.
enhance the. It will enhance
Yes.
the knowledge about the Varga charts and application and all those.
You'll be a sharper astrologer. You'll be able to
Yes.
use the divisional charts. And this is really a crash course in the use of
Yes.
divisional charts, the Vargas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most of it. I want to
Yeah.
join this. I want to do it. Okay.
It's
Yes.
useful. And
Yes.
then there'll be a tutorial class afterwards, if
Oh.
people so choose. So that will be once a week for 2 hours,
Mm-hmm.
for 4 weeks
Okay.
after the class. So
Okay.
that's an optional additional training,
That will be
an
like a
additional 8
one-on-one
hours.
coaching. One-on-one coaching, is it?
Or no, it will be a group. It'll be a group tutorial class that
Okay.
people can attend. They can also receive the replays,
Hmm.
both of the webinar and also of the tutorial classes. So with the tutorial classes, we'll go through the entire process step by
Hmm.
step.
Hmm.
We won't have time on the weekend to go through one entire chart. We'll work on several different charts
Hmm.
and do a lot of it, but we need to go through the whole step by step, and also perhaps to work from charts that the students themselves give. So
Okay.
these can be examples that are fresh and live and happening. We're figuring out together. Um, okay.
Yes, it is so
And then
much.
also a part of the tutorial class will go into how can you rectify a birth chart that you only know the day of. You don't even know anything about the time. How do you
Oh.
do a 24-hour birth time rectification? We'll see if we can fit that in with the tutorial class. But there's great shortcuts that are helpful with Gemini. So we'll also be learning that on the weekend, and we'll be working with it in more depth at the tutorial class.
Right.
So
So we
it's
have.
going
Yeah.
to give people what they need for sure.
Yes.
So they can practice this. And
I can see the value in, if we have this tool, even as a client or even as an astrologer, it is immensely helpful to sharpen our knowledge of
Yeah, and
Jyotish.
even if you're a student and you're not sure about your chart, or you just want to verify that the birth time is correct, then you'll have those tools, just even for your own chart. If you need to
Right.
figure it out, and for the same price of having birth time rectification done, you can learn it yourself.
Right. Yes. So you'll be sharing the example now?
Sure.
Okay.
So
Post that, we'll
share.
take the questions from the chat on
Okay, we'll
YouTube.
look at this a little bit. We'll look at
Yes.
a couple events
Yes.
in
Yes.
this example chart. Okay. So this is a woman who knew her birth time was between 12 noon and 1 p.m. So as you can see, the ascendant is, well, actually you can't see because we don't have, let's do this. Chart, see planetary info, birth, okay. So now, yeah, so her ascendant is at 1 degrees. At least this is the birth time. This is the rectification time that I came up with. So she was thinking that and several other astrologers was thinking that Sagittarius was correct for her ascendant. Of course, getting the ascendant is essential. We need to have the correct ascendant.
Right.
But yeah, so this was a case where we were looking at 2 ascendants. So she gave me several events, and I've listed them here. So we'll look at them.
When you say event, these are the life events like childbirth, job, travel to the foreign lands. All these are, you consider all these as life events, right? For the rectification.
Yes.
Okay.
Major
Yes.
life events.
Major life events. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Events that you could say are lead to major transitions in their life, a significant event. Okay.
Right.
So one major event that is undeniable was that she moved to the United States when she was about 15 years old, 14 years old. And this was in the Sun Ketu Dasha. So with Capricorn ascendant, in the natal chart, Ketu is in the 12th house. So this is helpful from a natal chart perspective. That subdasha within the Sun Mahadasha is a good possibility, at least. But now, so I could see that without changing the birth time. Okay, we're looking between Sagittarius and Capricorn. Capricorn would have Ketu in the 12th house. So the 12th house is a house of foreign residence.
Right.
And it's often, I've seen this particular event just numerous times, because a lot of my clients are people who have immigrated from India to the United States, or to the West, to Australia, England, etc. So this jumped out at me. And then also this range of time in the D4 chart. So the D4 chart for her was 30 minutes long. We can see that because this is giving us the boundary of the ascendant.
So we will first look for the broader sense, right? We will first look for the 40 minutes, 30 minutes, the shorter.
Yes, this is the D4.
Amshas.
So this is going to be a wide boundary.
Right.
It's a lower division, wider boundary. That means there's only 4 options
it's
for
30 minutes
one
almost,
ascendant. Yes, exactly. So so I put that in my pocket. Okay, Capricorn has K2 in the 12th house. The D4 chart generating that would be between 1203, 1233. Okay, now we've got a starting point.
Right.
I mean, this isn't definitive. I haven't decided on anything, but
Right.
it's a good clue. It's a very good clue.
Yeah, and you got this clue. That's why you had something to proceed with. Otherwise, you always have to look for other clues, and then your journey will start from there on.
Yeah, and this is within the Sun Mahadasha, and so just from Capricorn, Sun is the 8th lord, right?
Right.
So big changes can happen in the Mahadasha of the 8th lord. That's another thing. Also, Sun is in the 10th house with the 9th lord, which is Mercury.
Right.
So Mercury is with the Sun. So that is also significant because she wants to learn. She's a career-oriented person. And that's exactly why her parents moved to the United States. So she could take advantage of a Western education, go to school in the United States, hopefully become a doctor in the United States. And that's what she ended up doing.
Wow.
Okay. So let's just jump to marriage. Jump to the D9 chart. We should see this in the D9 or the Navamsha chart. And so marriage took place in her moon dasha. And also from Capricorn, moon is the 7th lord, right?
Right.
So that was also a strong clue. The early degrees of Capricorn as an ascendant would generate a Bhagavati Lagna.
Yeah.
Right. It will be Capricorn in the Capricorn as the ascendant in the Navamsha chart. So that would also mean that the moon is the 7th lord. Right. So this is also certainly a good sign, a good clue. This is where things are lining up quite good. This was a Saturn subdasha. Saturn is with Venus. Venus is the karaka, significator of marriage. It's a 7th house karaka. Okay, so very useful. Things are lining up quite well. Also in the D9 chart, Jupiter is in the ascendant. And a planet in the ascendant can give a significant event related to that Varga in its dasha. So both Moon, the Mahadasha Lord, Saturn, the Subdasha Lord, Jupiter, the Sub-Subdasha Lord, could all be explained logically for generating an event related to the D9 or to marriage. Okay, is that clear?
Yes.
So let's jump to the D7 chart. The Saptamsa chart. She had a child. The child, her first child, was born in Mars Mercury dasha. So in the D7 chart, when I looked at the Navamsha chart for marriage, that gave a boundary that started with 1203. So in the D7, the Saptamsa, it also generated a Cancer ascendant in the D7. Well, right. Mars is the 5th lord.
Yes.
So Mars is the 5th lord, and that is a strong clue. Also, Mercury is in Jupiter's sign. Jupiter's a karaka of childbirth. But also, just simply, Mars is the 5th lord. Mars is also aspected by Jupiter.
Right.
Strong. Jupiter's the karaka for childbirth. It's also, yes. So yeah, Jupiter is important for childbirth. So that event is also lining up. Jupiter's the sub-subdasha lord. Mercury is in Jupiter's sign. So this is looking really good. Everything is this is promising.
Yes.
So I'm looking at this, and then let's just jump to the D24 just for the heck of it. Let's see if we've got enough to make the D24 make sense as well.
For education.
for education.
Yeah, yes.
So now we're looking at her starting college. This was in Moon Mars.
Moon Jupiter. Okay, Moon Mars. Okay, that was medical
Moon,
college. Yeah, Moon Mars.
yes. So the interesting thing is that Moon is in Jupiter's sign, Jupiter is in the Moon sign. So they exchange signs in the D24. Jupiter is not only the karaka for childbirth, Jupiter and Mercury are the karakas for education.
Right.
So look how they exchange signs. Jupiter is the ninth lord. The ninth house is the fifth house from the fifth house. So according to the Bhavam principle, the ninth house is important also for education.
Right. But
Along
Mars,
with the fifth house.
Mars is not involved into it with
Yes,
the
it is.
starting of college.
It is. Mars is
Okay.
involved. Mars
Okay.
aspects the moon. The eighth
Oh,
house
yes,
aspect
the
of
eighth
Mars
house
aspects
aspect.
the moon.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
Mars is the fifth lord.
Oh, of education.
So,
Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Right.
okay. So we're seeing a lot of corroboration. Moon is aspected by the fifth lord, Mars. Moon is in exchange with Jupiter, the ninth lord. And she was going in her moon dasha. She did her undergraduate and postgraduate studies. So it spanned, and the undergraduate studies are seen by the fifth house. Postgraduate studies are the ninth house. So Moon is aspected by both the fifth lord and in exchange with the ninth lord.
Right.
So I may be going kind of fast here for people.
Yes.
But for the sake of time,
And
people can review the video. But in
yes.
any case, this is just
And yes,
a quick
yes,
a
exactly.
little sample,
I was
a little
about to
sample of.
yes. I was about to ask you how much time did you take to come to the conclusion for this? Did it take 4 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, 5 hours? How much
No,
hours?
no, I'm yeah, probably an hour and a half,
Oh,
hour and a half or
okay.
2 hours. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Because
It
once
takes
once
20
we
minutes. It takes
yeah.
20 minutes to enter events. It takes,
Hmm.
and then, yeah,
once we have
there's,
once we have reached to the birth time, then it's easy to connect the dots, right? But when you're
yeah,
doing it for the first time, you have to look for many things. Yes.
yeah, yes. Well, yeah, you're acquiring the knowledge in the beginning.
Yes.
So you're getting the fundamentals, and
Right.
then you apply them and apply them, just like learning a language. You
Yes.
you learn the basics, and you start to speak, and then you become more and more fluent. It becomes easier and easier. So
Right.
likewise, this can learning anything is the hardest in the beginning, and
Yes.
then it just only gets easier.
Okay.
So this webinar will give you the, the the knowledge you need to be able to dive into this and
Most
start to,
definitely. Yes.
yes. So you have the tools to be able to hone the birth time. You can see now we're in the D24. We're looking at this birth time between 1203 and 1208. Now
Yes.
we're down to a 5-minute range. 5
Yes.
minutes.
Yes.
So if all of if the D4, the D9, the D10, the D24, this all makes sense, then we really have something.
Right.
We've cross-checked across many divisional charts, and we're narrowing and narrowing and narrowing the birth time. Now we're down to 5 minutes, and then we can look at the third, fourth level, fifth level of the Vimshotri dashas
Yes.
to get those accurate too, and then we can get the birth time down to a minute or two.
Right.
And that's what we want. I mean, the birth time should be accurate within 2 minutes. How do we know that? Because the highest divisional chart, the D60 chart, no matter if you're born in northern India or southern India, the southernmost part of India, the northernmost part of India, the ascendant boundary will be 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Right.
So the birth time is supposed to be correct within 2 minutes. The Shastyamsha should be correct. So in any case,
Right.
that's my goal, is to make sure that when I'm giving a reading, I can use the divisional charts with confidence,
Yes.
certainty.
Right.
I don't give a birth time rectification result without that feeling of certainty, or why bother? You know, if it takes 5 hours, it's not going to
Right.
take 5 hours, but it can. Some jobs are easier than others, for sure.
Right.
But in any case, we get the tools, we get the knowledge, and then we apply it, and we get better and better at it. So we can ask questions now.
Yes. I'm just trying to read the questions from the comment
Sure.
section. Just a second. What are some examples of life event? We have covered that question.
Some life events that are transformative, or a major transition, could be like a pet dying. For some people, that's huge. I don't see the death of pets very often, so it's not something me as an astrologer have become proficient at. And so I might discard that. I mean, I know some things about pets, obviously,
Right.
so I can, but it's not. I've chosen those 5 divisional charts because they correspond to the most common major events in people's life. Excuse me. So
Yes.
I focus on those first. Those where I personally will have the most confidence in being able to make correct. Yeah.
Okay, we have one question. Do you use the Pranapada Lagna to be in trines, or the 7th from the moon in D9?
I'm sorry. One more time.
Yes.
One more time.
Do you use the Pranapada Lagna to be in trines, or 7th from the moon in D9?
That's not a technique that I'm working with, Pranapada.
Okay.
It's not something I'm teaching, not something that I work with.
Okay. What would be the
so many techniques?
Yes.
We have to choose. We have to choose.
So you do you use
the ones that we specialize in.
So you use the Pranapada Lagna to be in trines?
No,
you
I don't use that.
Okay, no. Okay.
No,
Then
and I wouldn't want to teach that in this class. I want to work with. I want to make it easy for people.
Okay.
So I'm not working with too rare or obscure methods. That I want to work with the fundamentals, so that people can start there, and then you can refine. You can always refine with more and more techniques. But right now, there's no methodology out there for birth time rectification. I'm putting this out because these are the methods that I've seen my teacher use.
Right.
And so I want to get this out.
Okay. One question we have is, what kind of events can you see from Shastyamsha?
Shastyamsha is a general, so that's the problem with the D60. For birth time rectifications, it's not very helpful because it's general. You can see all events, and so that's a problem in birth time rectification, because we need clear distinctions. When everything means everything, or then we have no clear distinctions. So I like working with the divisional charts that are focused on a particular area, one area, like education for the D24,
Right.
career events for the D10. The Navamsha also is a general divisional chart, but it's specifically for marriage. So the D60 doesn't have one event that I'm aware of that it specializes in. It's also, it's also the finest division. So people can go to that, make sure that that is correct. And yeah, because it's general, it can be easily off, and it can be easily off.
Right.
And that would make other divisional charts off.
Oh,
so I just think narrowing the parameters is more helpful.
Okay.
For getting to precision.
Yes. Next question we have is, what divisional chart confers timing of death? Do we look at that?
I don't look at that either.
Yes,
these are hard
yes,
questions.
Yes, these are hard questions. Yes. James.
Timing of death.
Yes.
Confirms the timing
Like
of death. Well,
the timing
we
of
can't
death of a partner or a mother, father will help? Or you don't look at it at all? We don't look at it.
No.
We have many other events.
Timing for parents' death should be seen in the Dwadashamsha, the D12.
Dwadashamsha. Okay.
Right. So timing, yes, that's the parent.
That was the next question we had. What is how Dwadashamsha helps in the birth rectification?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So the
with the parents. Right.
With the parents.
Okay.
And then the D9 for the spouse, the death of the spouse, God forbid, would be seen in the D9.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And
D7 chart for children.
Yes. Correct. Then we have next question. Is your book available now?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Nope.
Okay.
Still doing the finishing touches on it.
Okay, but you will share that with the people who are attending the webinar, right?
I'll be giving the PDF for that. Yes.
Okay.
As part of the webinar.
Okay.
Yes.
The article of it. Okay. Yes.
Yes.
The next question we have is, does the appearance of the lagna help in identifying the birth time rectification? Like a person who has come to meet you is tall, is dark, is all.
Yes. You can work from that. Yes, that is certainly a clue. Any clues will help, right?
Right.
My purpose with this particular book is to focus on events, and that's what I remember K.N. Rao said once when I was with him in New Delhi. They were discussing a chart of a student at his school, Bharatiya Bhavan, and they were. I was in his office, and one of the teachers was there from his school, and they were talking about it, and he said, should not focus on the subjective, focus on the objective. In other words, focus on the events. Subjective is too easy to get wrong. Objective, hardcore event that's happened. Make sure that the chart works for those events first. Okay.
And what would
that's what he was basically saying. Subjective would be like he doesn't feel like what's that? I'm sorry. There's a little bit of lag time.
Okay. What would be the subjective for that? Like objectifying is to.
I mean,
for the events. Then what would be the subjective would be?
Subjective would be what you feel, what you intuit. They feel like a Libra ascendant to me. That would be a subjective data point, you might say.
Okay. Okay. We are taking few last couple of questions now. One is it true that for a girl signs can't be both male in D1 and D9? Can't be use it for rectification? These kind of clues where, for female
Say that
native,
again.
it would be like this. Is it true that
I didn't hear that question. I hate to say it.
just a sec- just a,
We're freezing on the screen.
am I still freezing?
No. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you fine now.
Yes. Right. So the question was, is it true that for a girl, signs can't be both male in D1 and D9? Like these kind of clues,
Signs
like
signs can be like we have masculine
can't
and
be.
feminine signs.
Yes, can't be both in D1. Do you use these kind of clues as well, or these are subjective again? What is your thought on?
Well, it's objective in the sense that the signs can be seen, right? The signs can be the ascendant, the D1, the ascendant, and the D9 can be seen as either masculine or feminine.
Right.
That won't give you definitive answers, though.
Right.
It won't be. In other words, what's tricky about birth time rectification is that there are many ways to see
Right.
events. There's many ways to see. It won't be invariably true that someone cannot, a female cannot have masculine ascendant in the natal chart and in the D9. It won't be true. It won't be true invariably, and so
Okay.
that wouldn't be something that we can rely on.
Okay. Yes.
Well, I think we want to make sure that people know that if they're still with us and they still want to do the webinar,
Yes.
then they can get a 5% discount by using Pramonic as the coupon code when they sign up for.
Over the early bird
Pramonic.
discount.
Oh, yes, in addition to early bird discount, which will be still in effect for until the 15th.
Great. Okay, so guys, those who are watching and want to enroll for it, you will get extra 5% discount with the coupon code Pramanik. I have shared this into the description section and you can go and attend that. Okay.
Yes.
So yes, thank you.
Thank you for your questions. Yes, and
thank you for
it's my
being
pleasure.
on my channel. Yes, it was amazing.
It's always a pleasure.
It's always, thanks for enlightening us with this.
It's been great to be here. Yes, look forward to more opportunities.
Yes.